Have you been enjoying our Impact Podcasts and our great guests? Then please give us a thumbs up and leave a 5-star review on iTunes, Google Play, or wherever you consume your favorite podcasts. This edition of the Impact Podcast is brought to you by ERI. ERI has a mission to protect people, the planet, and your privacy, and is the largest fully integrated IT and electronics asset disposition provider and cybersecurity-focused hardware destruction company in the United States, and maybe even the world. For more information on how ERI can help your business properly dispose of outdated electronic hardware devices, please visit eridirect.com. This episode of the Impact Podcast is brought to you by Closed Loop Partners. Closed Loop Partners is a leading circular economy investor in the United States with an extensive network of Fortune 500 corporate investors, family offices, institutional investors, industry experts, and impact partners. Closed Loop's platform spans the arc of capital from venture capital to private equity, bridging gaps and fostering synergies to scale the circular economy. To find Closed Loop Partners, please go to www.closedlooppartners.com. Welcome to the edition of the Impact Podcast. That's a very special edition. I'm John Shigarian, and today we have with us Saeju Jeong. He's the co-founder and executive chairman of Noom. Saeju, this is a special episode, and I'm so very excited to have you on today.
I'm so honored. Thank you very much, John.
Saeju, before we get talking about what you and your partner have built at Noom over the last 15 or 16 years, I'd love you to first share a little bit about your background, where you were born, where you grew up, and what got you on this very inspirational and impressive journey that you're on.
Thank you. So I'm Korean. I came from suburb side of the Korea, so I'm country boy man. My father was a doctor, OBGYN medical doctor, and my entire early childhood, I remember that I was playing at my father's hospital because he was working very hard as a founder and also doctor, and including because my father found the hospital with his brothers, so they all work hard. We all exposed to medical business somehow. So that's my childhood, and all our Jeong family members, my cousins are all medical doctors. I mean, they became a doctor because that's the way they were influenced and also inspired by the parent. I tried, but I failed to enter the medical college, and then I strayed a lot. I got lost because I didn't go to medical college, which I became like black sheep at our Jeong family, and then I pursued my interest, which is entrepreneurship. So I found a company in Korea when I was 19, music record label, e-commerce business. It was quite fun, and we grew it very well by the time. This was before streaming service time. Service grew well. I loved it, and then I had a little taste of being an entrepreneur. And while I was doing that, I was very much occupied for work, and I'm busy, and I love what I do in terms of work. It built a big question mark of like something is missing out of my work. At the end of the day, literally at the end of the day, by the time, I always felt like I'm quite busy and we are making pretty good money and this is good, but why am I feeling like something is missing? Which is now I know because I did not have a life of purpose-driven life by the time. So what is purpose-driven life, right? And now I know what that means, but at age 19, I did not know. I was busy to operate my e-commerce business. I was confused. And unfortunately, my father passed away early on because of lung cancer. It was a very traumatized experience because our relationship was very strong. My father was such a good father, good man, really good man, philosopher, very, very thoughtful.
I want to pause you for a second. So when you didn't get into medical school, all your cousins were getting in, your father and his brothers were found, not only were doctors, but they founded a hospital together.
Correct.
What was, I know you were super close with your dad. What was your dad's advice once you didn't make it into medical school, was he very hard on you, or did he encourage you to find your own way?
Wow, thoughtful question. I actually never received that kind of question. So thank you, John. I recall, oh, this is a hard question. I recall my father was disappointed, but I really appreciate that he didn't say any words. He didn't even act like he was disappointed, but I could read he was disappointed. But I think he had a pretty good empathy that my father didn't want to become a doctor, by the way. My father didn't want to become a doctor. My father wanted to become an entrepreneur and go abroad, be a captain of like the cruise business, something like that. He wanted to get out because he was born and raised from very small town, and he wanted to go abroad. But my grandfather,
Yeah.
who had a very strong the mission that
Right.
our Jeong family need to serve for the community health, forced him to become a doctor, right? So I think that experience helped him to have empathy with my path, which is non-doctor's path. So my father told me after a few days after that, we had to admit it that I'm not going to try again. I will not try again to go to a medical college. And now I decided to actually study electrical engineering, which was a very good major, by the way. But in our family, that was a big news because literally there are only two idiots are not a doctor as a man in our family. I'm
Wow.
telling you, we have more than 60 doctors.
Whoa.
So it's our culture, our family culture, which
Right.
we are very proud of. At the same time, it also creates a lot of pressure.
Sure.
Tremendous. So my father told me, Saeju, there is a multiple paths of the career, but he told me, I don't want you to think not becoming a doctor is a failure. This is a great opportunity. You may explore what you're good at. And he gave me a little hint that I think you are very good at business because you read people well, and you also you do well with the people. You do well. You create a harmony, and that's what we call leadership. So that very short but clear words gave me the light of tunnel, John. That gave me a light of tunnel because it's him, it's my father. By the time my father was the highest authority in my life, right? And I respect him a lot, and I was close to him. So having that short but thoughtful comment gave me the light of the tunnel that, oh yes, I think you're right, Daddy, and I want to do something. And he learned that I already found my company. I actually did it all by myself with my friend. I did not tell my parent, but I covered the news because our business was growing as a rising business. So my father learned about it. So my father said, I know what you are doing, Seju, at school. You're also doing some startup. And he said, like, my father was not like, he didn't easily give up the compliments. He said, bring the P&L,
Right.
bring the P&L chart, and I will take a look. And I did it, and my father was impressed. And he goes like, do not miss the class, son, and keep it up. That was his comment.
So, let's break that down. Your father could have taken, which would have been very culturally appropriate. He could have made you feel very worse than you already felt about not getting into medical school. But instead of that, he took a whole different tack. He not only worked from his heart and was empathetic towards your situation, but he also worked from his brain, and he gave you words of wisdom that would encourage you. And as you said, showed you the light. So he literally did the opposite of what many other fathers do in that situation, which opened the door for a much different path for you.
That's right, John. Thanks for having very thoughtful question. It's a gift to me because I haven't thought about it until you asked that question, but I remember very vividly because there was a moment that I cannot forget. And now I became a father of two sons, and I have more respect than ever because the way he handled the disappointing news was so remarkably admirable. I miss him so much. I love him. My father was, yeah, I think you put the very beautiful words that culturally, tiger father, tiger mom is kind of like in Asia and Korea. That's
Sure.
very typical. Matter of fact, my uncles were kind of disappointed and they visually and verbally mentioned about that. But my father gave me a space that I can digest. My father trusted in me. And my father, this is a very teary conversation. I didn't expect we'll have this conversation, John, but I will share. Before my father passed away, my father never smoked. It was an unfortunate situation that he somehow had a lung cancer, and it got him, and he left, early on at early age. And then one day he did not know I was at the bathroom at the hospital, and I overheard what he was talking with my mom. And my father, there was an end of his life, and my father told my mom that give a chance to Saeju. He will ask for help. He may ask for help that he needs to go abroad or start his business, and just believe in him.
So
Just believe in him.
he knew that he had limited time, and he was sharing his own heart and what he wanted for your future with your mom to make sure that she would carry that on and it
Right.
continued to encourage you and support you.
All right. What
Wow.
an incredible human. I mean, what
Wow.
I miss him. I miss him so much. And matter of fact, my mother became a great sponsor. And without my mother's sponsorship, I don't think I couldn't come to United States and even continue to stick with our company mission Noom in the last 17 years. As you can imagine, there's a lot of ups and downs. There are a lot of bankruptcy moment of company. There's a lot of time that my mother could simply compare me to other son, her friend's son, like, what are you doing, Sage, at your age? And you're not making any money. What are you doing? You're just begging money all the time to investors. But she never did that. She never ever.
I want to talk about your mom later, but let's go back to your father before. I don't want to glance over this. He got lung cancer and he passed at a very young age, 51 or
Correct.
so, right? He's 51
Yeah.
or so. He,
51. Unfortunate. Yeah.
he,
Very
he
sad.
also, you and him before he passed, when the end was coming near, you also had another conversation with him that he shared some last words of wisdom with you about what his death would mean to you and your future.
Correct. So my father, now the reason I have more respect because I became a father, and
Sure.
I wish I can actually, in terms of parenting, that I wish I can get near close to him because the way he handled any matter, for instance, when I made any mistake or misbehaved, and my father literally never directly commented on that. My father always asked questions,
Mm,
so I can think about that. So, for
right.
instance, when I misbehave, my mother is telling my dad, and my father came to me, "Your mother seems very angry and upset. I think something went wrong, and I wanna learn what was the thought behind." But with a very kind manner to encourage me to think about what was the truly what drove my action.
Mm,
He literally never gave me the answer, what is the right way or wrong way.
mm,
So similar way he handled the way of his exit of the lifetime. When
mm.
he told me one day, I still remember very well, John. I guided him to walk because he needed to walk when he did the chemotherapy, and I was a caregiver for his activities at our side. And there was a beautiful sunset happened, and my father just stopped walking and I looked at the sun, and he told me, "Son, because you are my son, I will tell you, you need to prepare that my time is my time is, ending. I want you to know, I'm a doctor. I know what's going to happen, and you need to understand. Rather, you have to set a false hope. So be a man for the family. You got to prepare for the funeral." when I heard that, I couldn't digest the big message. It was too much.
Mm.
In the similar spirit, that manner, before he passed away, he couldn't, he barely spoke because of, he couldn't speak well because at the end, because of, he was struggling with the breathing. And the last words were like, he had a retrospective review of his life as a doctor. My father was a very renowned doctor. Was a very, very, very famous doctor in our town. Because it was not like he wanted to give me advice, whatever. I think he wanted to just share his life to someone with a son, and then he just commented over his life. As a doctor, I worked really hard to save lives, and I did it, and I'm very proud of that. But I often felt my work is a little like, a little hopeless, because I see more and more sick people are coming to my office, and I told them how to avoid or prevent that or manage the chronic conditions. But I was way too busy to handle the very sick patient, so I didn't have a chance to change that. But unfortunately, a lot of patients return with a further developed condition. And that's why he felt like in Korea, healthcare was as is. I'm a healthcare professional leader, but am I actually a healthcare leader? I'm a sick care leader. And that delta, the perception between the healthcare leader should be the center of like like evangelists, and also spread how to get healthy today, avoid the sickness. But I couldn't do that. I actually manage the sick problem who are at the hospital, and let them discharge from hospital. But I know most of them will come back again.
Right.
So that was a big topic for us, and I was kind of like, I had a wake up call when I heard that from my dad, because I look up to him so much. At the same time, he had a little interesting comment as he closed his chapter of life in the comment, and that's kind of very provoking comment.
Yeah, for him to talk about openly the difference between sick care and health care, that's an epiphany. That's fantastic.
Yes,
correct. Especially for a traditional doctor, they don't like to talk in those terms typically. So correct. A classically trained and traditional and well-renowned and respected and loved doctor like your dad, correct. That's a big thing to talk about and openly
correct.
talk about. Wow.
Correct.
Wow.
Correct. He predicted in the future the technology will connect the dot between doctor and patient closer. He predicted. And also he predicted the entrepreneurship, like now what I do now. The company can actually support that can happen. Why? Ease of access and affordable price to access to the true healthcare services.
So he knew what had to happen. There just wasn't yet all the connectivity and the technology available yet to connect the dots that your father already saw was coming and should come.
Correct.
Wow. Okay. Your father left you with this wonderful wisdom, this wonderful epiphany. I don't want to glance over this. In South Korea, you not only created a business, although you didn't get into medical school, and you started this route of entrepreneurship. Your father looked at your P&L. He was impressed and gave you encouragement. What was the business about? Talk a little bit about your passion and what you followed in terms of what business you started in South Korea before you immigrated to the United States.
For sure, John. So I still love music, like many of us love music, but I had a very specific flavor of interest, which is heavy metal music. Heavy metal music. I know heavy metal music is not for everyone, but once you like it, you become like addicted, and you become like the hardcore fan of heavy metal music.
Sure.
I still today I listen to heavy metal music, and I'm a dying hardcore fan of heavy metal music. So my thesis was in Korea, it is so hard to get the heavy metal music in Korea because such as, like foreign country for heavy metal music, usually heavy metal is more for European or American music. So I initially imported the heavy metal music to South Korea, but I adopted e-commerce. And because of that, there are a ton of people want to get the music because it's hard to get it, but over e-commerce, I was able to monopoly the market in Korea.
So you had a heavy metal music label brand in South Korea?
Correct.
Wow. And you were the first.
I was the first e-commerce, yes, sir.
And you put it together with technology. So like you said, it was e-commerce technology based, and you curated it yourself from your own
taste. Exactly, John.
Wow. So how many years did you run this, and what was the end result of this first entrepreneurial venture?
So I did it for 3 years, and then as my father passed away, and then I also had to serve for the military. So I switched my role, and actually, I did a very provoking decision. I literally, I contacted my competitor who followed my business, and I contacted their CEO. I said, I've been watching you. You do a lot of things what we have done. You followed us, and I want to say thank you for expanding our market. I will give you our business to continue to provide good service without any hiccup to my client, because I'm going to change my career toward something else than music. That's what I did.
Wow. And you did your military service, and then talk about the decision to then come to America. Why did you come to America, and why did you choose New York when you came?
During the military service, it was a very good experience for me because I was looking for what should I do, and I had a lot of philosophical questions, John. By the time after I lost my father, I had a question about, all the topics that usually the children ask to parent, and it's very hard to answer. And then somehow, as the children grow up, they don't ask, and then like us adults, we don't talk about it. Kind of.
Sure.
It became a very big topic to me, John, because I just lost my father. So I was curious about like, who am I? Why am I at this time at this planet as a Korean? All that kind of like a very spiritual question. I get stuck with that because I was curious, where's my dad now? Once I buried him, and I felt like, and I felt very, very strange because after the funeral, everything looks like a moving as it was scheduled, except my father is not here. So it really reminded me about we all die eventually, and we live once, which is a very fair thing for every human. And we are here, and we can make some change. We can actually do something at our will, which is beautiful. So I was thinking hard, and I was in the military, and one of the words my father told me really inspired me. My father said, "By he leave early, I will become very strong." That's why he told me, because he said, "Son, most of your friends will still have a father suffer for many more years." And it was true. My father was the first one that out of my whole group, and he passed away, the oldest one. So my father goes, I will become very independent, which means I will become stronger. And he said, look for your talent, what you can become, and how you can evolve you as a talent. And I am certain you will achieve amazing success. The only part that I'm not happy is I will not be able to see you by the time. Otherwise, it's okay for me to leave early because I know my dad will teach you to become very strong. So that strong message was hard. And I was thinking, and I decided to reset my life based on the priority. And that really cleared a lot of mandate the priority in my life, such as I need to go to medical school. I need to go to a good school like that. That was not my thought, by the way, John. That was kind of given task.
Right.
So that actually helped me to prioritize what is important in my life. And then I realized I'm an entrepreneur and I'm going to build a company. And at school, I will not be able to focus because it is not the major that I'm passionate with or love. So I dropped out of college. which is very, very abnormal as a Korean student.
Oh, yeah.
In Korea, that's very, very uncommon, very uncommon due to our Korean
Education's first. Education's
Correct.
first. For
I
our
dropped out of
children.
college. I'm very proud of that decision. And you know what, John? It was not even hard. It was a very easy decision for me. Once I realized it, once I was able to remove all my cloud in my head, I was, you know what? This is not important, so drop out. I did it everything, you know what? And then I determined I will come to United States, New York City. Why? United States is the biggest market for me. It's a global market. I loved it because I experienced, as I mentioned, my first business, I monopoly the heavy metal music scene in Korea, and I
Right.
learned that the TAM is so small. The TAM, total access market, is so small.
Right.
How many Korean heavy metalers? Not many. So I realized if I continue to do this, I will hit the ceiling. So that helped me to think about go abroad. And also I was very curious to interact with the diverse, the talents, different background, other than just 100% Korean market by Korean talent. So I came to America. And why New York City?
Yeah.
Because I wanted to start from internationally friendly city as I don't have any background. That's why I came to United States, New York City. I thought, and I think I'm right because I proved it over my life. New York City is such a great city that welcoming any background. It's a very international friendly. That's why how I came to New York in 2005, January 22nd.
Did you have any family there, Saeju? Did you have any family or friends that you could connect with?
No, this is the
Wow.
part I also want to highlight. No exaggeration.
Wow.
I came, no English background. Yes, I spoke some broken English, still broken English, but far broken English. I knew no human.
Wow.
Trust me, John.
You were literally a stranger in the promised land at that point.
Yeah, I had a week, like, and I was at the basement, subleted basement, at North Massapequa in Long Island. People wonder why. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
It was affordable, cheap, $630 per month, including
Wow.
Wi-Fi and
Wow.
utility bill. And then I was there, and then I remember one again. There were several days I don't even speak at all. Nobody's calling me. Nobody. I just I'm like that. So I remember I walked to Walmart. I just walk to Walmart
Wow.
and spend my time at the Walmart and speaking with some cashier that there. And John, I actually spoke to Sprint customer support because I got bored.
Wow.
1-800 Sprint.
So
I called them up.
just to talk to somebody and hear a human voice, you were putting yourself in a position and just to have someone to talk to.
Yeah, I was absolutely lonely.
Whoa. Whoa. What was the family? Did you have was the family that you were living in their house? Did they have any relationship with you or don't discuss anything with you?
So I found an amazing lady. She lives herself. She's a teacher at school, math teacher, and I stayed at her basement sublet. But her personality, she's a great lady, by the way. I respect her, and I learned a lot of American culture. She wanted to keep the distance.
Oh,
Matter of fact, in the beginning, it was so hard to actually interact with her, other than I just pay her the rent fee. And I try to be just kind because I was lonely, and I'm a kind man. I want you nice and say hi,
right.
all that. I even asked like, can I have a dinner with you, something like that. And she goes, oh, not really, kind of like that, right?
Oh my
And
God.
then you know what I did? I actually cleared the driveway past the snow and also leaves like that because I just have a time.
Right. And you
And
just
then
wanted to be friendly and also you
yeah,
had
I just
time.
have time. I'm a young man. I'm a
Right.
single. I have a time, and I'm here to learn American
Right.
culture, all that. And one day, the magic happened. The one day, her boyfriend opened the locked door between basement and the ground level, right? And
Yeah.
the first floor. He
Yeah.
opened the door. Hey, Seju, come over. We have a beer.
Whoa.
And then he
Whoa.
was such a kind man. He was a boyfriend of her, and
Yeah.
he said, "Come over. I heard about you, and then now I have seen you for 3 months. Come over. We have a beer together." I had a beer, and then
Nice.
and then she invited for dinner, and I met her friends over the dinner, And a friend is operating Verizon Wireless retail store at the North Massapequa. And then she asked me if I sell any Verizon, the service, the carrier service, then she can write a check as the bonus. So I did it. I did it a lot. And she gave me a $1,000 check. That was my first paid check ever in my United States.
That's a nice paycheck in the United States. Wow.
True story, John.
Whoa. Oh, and you're like say 2005, 17 years ago. So you're 25, 24, 25 years old, and you're a young
25.
You're a young guy. Whoa.
Yeah.
That's exciting. That's an exciting moment to get that check. That must have felt like you're off to the races. You had that check.
Exactly.
You were there.
Actually, that was kind of proof of confidence, and then I was able to do more side job, and that was fun, John. They gave me the confidence I can do this.
Wow. Wow. So how long did you live in that nice lady's basement? How long were you?
I was there for almost 2 years, and then I moved to Flushing, Queens, which is close to Manhattan. And then I started actually Noom concept, and I found company Noom. So by the time Smart Labs,
out of your apartment in Flushing, you founded Noom.
Correct.
And would you take the Long Island Railroad in or the subway in to New York City?
Oh, subway, of course, subway, of course.
Subway, you're a subway guy. Okay.
Yeah, of course, subway, and found the company. Yeah, like there's a lot of good people, literally angels. There's a lot of nice people.
Talk a little bit about New York City. And for our listeners and viewers who've just joined us, we've got Saeju Jeong with us. He's the co-founder and executive chairman of Noom. To find Saeju and his partner, Artem, and all the wonderful people at Noom, please go to www.noom.com. You know, Saeju, talk a little bit about that. I grew up in New York City. I grew up a couple of blocks over from Flushing. I grew up in Little Neck, Queens, and went to high school in Manhattan and high school, college in Manhattan. But talk a little, people think New York is a big, bad town and everybody's mean and rude. Talk a little bit about you had a very opposite experience of that and what that means to your journey, to your entrepreneurial journey, and and disavow our listeners and viewers to how nice really people are in New York City.
Happy to, John. I do think there's a general like the impression about city, right? That Boston, New York City had different, LA. I get that. Yeah. My own experience is there are a ton of good people over in my life who assist my business and help my life. For instance, like I constantly pitched our ideas about how Noom can change the world, and there are patient people who listen to my broken English plus broken presentation plus like a very inexperienced ideas about how to operate the business. But there are good patient people to listen to. Let me give you an example. I pitched to VCs, venture capitalists who write a little check for seed stage, right? And because I was so nobody, I remember like and having 2 meetings per week is a good week. If I have a 2 meetings per week, that's a good week.
Right.
And other than that, my calendar is completely empty, right? Yeah. And I pitched to venture capitalists in Connecticut and Manhattan. And obviously, because I'm not qualified, I knew it, but I tried my best. And then like 30% of the time, 30%, of course, everybody said no, by the way. But 30% of them, because I literally begged them, it's okay to say no to me, but it's great gift if you can tell me why no. Why?
Right.
At least I can learn from you, sir.
You want constructive feedback.
Yeah, John, because I invest my time and you invest your time. And why don't you just give me the real feedback? You can say like, we suck, but we want to learn. That way your time is valuably respected, and me as well. And there are nice people who give a constructive feedback with encouragement. And I remember one day the Connecticut VC said, "Hey, young man, I got to tell you, boy." And he was like, "You have amazing passion, but you don't know how to present the business."
Okay.
And he guided the way we're supposed to make the deck, the presentation deck, the way I should focus on building a team, all that. Like, I hope I can find them again. And then I want to say, thank them again, that there are nice people, the strangers. But I asked, and when I asked, I get a pretty good response. People actually give me the feedback, which is not a money, but sometimes I think feedback is also the path to I can raise the capital, which I eventually raise the capital because I got better
Of
over
course,
time.
because you wanted to get better, though. You were asking for people to tell you how to get better.
Correct. And
Yeah.
also, New York City, I get it. People think New York City is kind of like tough. I agree. New York City is hard to live,
Right.
tough to live. Like everything is expensive. There's a
Right.
reason why. There's a reason why. And I say this because, like me, even Saeju, I came from Korea. I'm immigrant, right? A lot of people are people visit New York, come to New York because of they chase a dream.
Right.
So
Right.
they are busy and there's a
Right.
lot of competition. But the thing is, from my own experience, I always believe in good intention and I try to be polite, respectful, and sincere.
Mm,
And I do my homework, by the way, John. I do my homework, meaning like I prepare the most thoughtful question in order to respect someone else.
mm.
And then, I believe that effort speak over non-verbal energy to someone else. And that moment, I have seen a lot of cases, people raise hands for help. They want to help me and they help me. They don't use the flowery words, but in New York often because they're busy and hectic lifestyle, but they help. And I've
Seju,
seen a lot.
I want to go back just 2 steps. Talk a little bit about your aha moment. You're living in Flushing. How did you dream up? Was it in bed, in the shower, just walking on the streets, getting some exercise? When did you put together? And I give your father the credit for the seeds of this because obviously your dad was a brilliant man, like you said, a philosopher with a big heart. He set the seeds in you, as you shared a little earlier, about the difference between sick care and health care. When did you have your aha moment and said, okay, I know what my next business is? And you dreamed up the business concept, the original business plan of Noom. When did that happen? And how did it happen to you?
Because I had a very somewhat successful e-commerce business. I made like a few $1 million at age 19, 20. So that gave me a chance to taste of the entrepreneurship and also money. At the same time, as I mentioned, I was seeking for the fulfillment of my life, fulfillment. And now I know what that is. Purpose-driven life is the answer. But it's very difficult to actually have a purpose-driven life. Why? Because I had to find where I can fully dedicate and devote my life. In other words, I need to find a target. I need to have a mission. And that was the most difficult part, John. So to answer your question, and hopefully it's a good tip for the listeners, what I did, because all I had was time and my good energy and a curiosity. So I tried to wake up early to stick with a very disciplined, to be disciplined man. And then I take the questions and I went out for a walk at least 4 hours, sometimes 7 hours.
Wow.
Think deep. I try not to just ask around my question that what I have to figure, which is my own calling. What is my mission? Because my homework, I have seen from many early stage the founders, and probably it's also my mistake when I was much younger. A lot of like inexperienced founders ask too many questions to others to get either confirmation or they don't know where to start. I get that, but sometimes my humble recommendation is you gotta figure your own question by yourself. Although even if it's very lonely and tough, and you may feel completely got lost, but that's very natural. That's very normal. So I go deeper and deeper, like a meditation. But I did walk, think, take a note. And I read a major book. It's called Good to Great, written by Jim Collison. And that book is describing why several companies are, growing over 100 years, which is longer than man's life by the time. So I love the concept. And that book answered my question. It's not about idea. It's about the mission. Because either can be changed or either can be copied. So what I did beginning the first business, I found a company based on my ideas. And I made a little money, but it's not a company sustainable growth. But when I figured the mission, which is let's use science and technology to deliver healthy outcome for end users, How nice is that? And also, I learned this is the part that you mentioned very beautifully, John. As an immigrant,
Yes.
immigrant has a benefit. What benefit? We see a lot of problem in the United States. That problem is an all opportunity to improve.
It's true.
Immigrant is always a little more awakened than just American. The reason is not because we are better human, because we got to learn about this new culture. And while we adopt and learn new culture, American culture, we have a question. Why in America this is normal? To me, it's not a normal. That's an opportunity.
Also, I agree with you 400%. But as an immigrant, two things. Your dad told you that when he passed, it was going to be a very difficult time for you, but it was going to make you tougher and better to go make your future because of his passing, the difficulty of his passing.
Correct.
The passage also from South Korea to New York was not easy. And it's not easy for any immigrant. It's just not easy to be the first.
Correct.
It's a lot easier to be me, the third generation of an immigrant family, but my grandfather is really you. You came over, you did the hard work. You lived in a very lonely situation and had to keep your willpower, your vision, your drive, your sanity while you found your way. And ultimately, isn't resilience and flexibility and grit three of the biggest pillars of immigrants that are able to push through every difficulty? Because there's no immigrant, or entrepreneur, whether they're immigrant or not, that doesn't have massive amount of difficulties. So being an immigrant, weren't you better prepared because of your toughness, because of what you've already had endured through your father's passing, through the passage of South Korea to New York, to be ready for this, what's new journey, but very difficult journey?
Extremely well said, sir. And thank you so much for commenting and summarizing it. I agree with you. Actually, this reminds me of one of the amazing episodes I want to share with you, if you don't mind, John.
Sure.
2019, I know now I'm skipping time, but
Yeah.
2019, Sequoia Capital, which is one of the most prestigious venture capital firm in the Silicon Valley. So they contact us, and then they followed us, and we were invited to present our company to their 13 partners.
Wow.
So that was kind of final meeting, right? We understand this is kind of very important to me. We flew over. And a day before the meeting, I got a call from the partner who advocate our business to their partner. He goes, "Hey, Saeju, you know what? We want you to present your story. How did you survive?" So because we found company in 2008, and by the time we met them 2019.
11 years later. 11 years. Yep.
So they want me to present that story. What happened? How did we not, bankrupt, or basically they were curious about the story of perseverance instead of the business model or product presentation, all that.
P&L, any of it. They were more interested in you.
Yeah, found the story.
Founder story. I love it.
So we did it. We shared, Artem, my co-founder, and I flew over and we shared our story. So I started from my personal beginning and how I came to the United States, why I came to the United States, and why it has to be healthcare, and how we discover, how we define our mission, and how we explore the ideas, the product, the features. So again, I just want to highlight one more time, we did not found a company with an amazing idea. We had, oh my God, this idea, I got to found a company. No, we found the company once we figure the company mission, and then we look for the ideas.
Got it. So go back now. You came up with the idea. You're getting turned down by VCs. When and how did you meet Artem?
So I met Artem 2006, and then 2007, we started to talk about the opportunity. I actually convinced him to get out from Google.
He had a big job at Google, and you convinced. And by the way, I don't want to give short shrift to Artem. Artem is obviously not an American name. He has to be from an immigrant family too. Where's his family from?
Ukraine.
So he's Ukrainian, you're South Korean, you're both immigrant families. You're an immigrant, first generation. He's also first generation, I take it?
Yep.
Okay, so that's important. Two immigrants are getting together.
Correct.
Just like the Google founders and many other founders, it's
Correct.
two great immigrants coming together
Correct.
to do a big mission together.
Correct. Exactly.
Okay. So so now you meet him, talk about meeting him and talking about the how to decide what the mission was going to be.
So Artem's approach was different than me because I'm kind of like intuitive man. I'm like I always started my business. I'm kind of like go guy. And Artem is a very thoughtful man and product-driven thinker. So he did a lot of research. And I give a credit that he actually gave me the book of Good to Great. And that's how I read it. And I was so inspired. And then we debated a lot to figure what's company mission. And we figured the company mission. And then I convinced him to get out from Google. He was tech lead of Google Map by then. And I remember his parent, his grandma, hated it when I convinced him to get out from Google because they gave up their life from Ukraine for his education.
Right.
And I convinced, and they were very proud of he got a job at Google. And then he met
who's this guy Saeju who's messing up all our dreams for our young boy here? Who's this guy Saeju?
Exactly, John. Exactly, John. Exactly. That's what happened.
Oh my gosh. Exactly. Wow. Yep. That's fascinating. So now you have two young guys. And so what did you decide? How did you eventually agree upon the mission?
Yep. And then we built the product ideas that what we thought. And it's now, like from today's view, it's very cute ideas, but we developed a lot of product portfolios that we thought it will deliver our company mission. In other words, using science and technology, we can deliver great outcome, healthy outcome. Not really. So believe me, our first prototype, one of the prototypes that we really bet on was very much like Peloton cycle.
Really?
Our first product. We had a hardware, we had an interactive the screening attached to cycles and the gamified it, everything. And with that prototype, we could not raise any single dollar for 2 years. We faced a bankruptcy. And then we realized we gotta drop the hardware business because it's so expensive to carry on.
Right.
And then that challenge helped us to figure what we are good at. And we figure we are good at making software. If so, and we need to make we need to develop the product that we can prove how good we are. And that's how we entered app market, the application.
Before we get to the app market, where were you building this together? Was there a WeWork yet, or were you working out of your Flushing apartment or Artem's apartment, or where were you building this together?
We didn't have a WeWork concept by then, right? WeWork, all that is kind of latest concept. By the time it's Artem's apartment, and then actually I found the Columbia University PhD student dorm, and I feel sorry to Columbia University at this moment, but I actually kind of smuggled in there, and then we actually convert that dorm as our office. We work at there, and then we eventually moved to Harlem, 138th Street and Lenox Avenue, Harlem, and the 2-bedroom. We stayed, we work and stayed and everything. So there's no work-life balance. We just, we became one.
So he may say, so where Artem lived with you, or Artem came to your apartment, or how did that work?
So Artem was working for Google, but I started company, so I came from Flushing.
Yeah.
By the time I moved to Flushing garage, so I moved even because I became so poor. I found a one illegally renovated space in the garage, and I stayed at garage.
You were like Google and HP. You were doing good garage entrepreneurship, just like Google and HP. Wow.
Correct. In Flushing.
Wow.
Flushing, Queens.
Wow. Oh, so then so Artem would come to Flushing, or you would go to the city and you would code together. How did that work?
So weekend he come to Flushing. Weekdays I go to Artem's apartment. Artem go to Google. I work during daytime, and then eventually real convinced him, so he got out. And then we moved to Columbia University, and then we moved to Harlem, the apartment.
I know you apologized to Columbia. I want to give a little shout out to Google because I want to talk a little bit about how you guys kept your bellies full while you were coding together and building the company.
I feel also immensely thankful to Google because Google feeds employee, and Artem was able to collect some leftover sandwich and the yogurt from Google, and he fed me overnight, and we worked until like 1 a.m. every night.
So shout out to Columbia and shout out to Google for supporting our great young entrepreneurs in America. That's okay. That's okay. That's okay. So now you're building this together. You decide no hardware business. You're going to do software and an app. Now, how does it go from there?
So we built a software and an application business, and God helped us that there's like once in every decade there's a change of transformative technology arrive, right? And then, as you do know, like a hyper growth arrived, like an Airbnb, Spotify, Uber, all came out of this transformative time. And the mobile ran the innovation time. We were lucky enough that we launched a service and we became quite popular and maker developer because within 6 months we had a 5 million download. It's called Cardio Trainer. We launched at 5 million. By the time it was a lot. We were number 1 in fitness category.
Whoa. So what year was this?
2010, 11.
Okay. So now that takes off. Gets scale and usage. Not only eyeballs and clicks, but people are using it.
Yep.
So that was that it? Did you guys were you guys high-fiving each other and think this is it? It's gonna go?
No. So we were, as a Series A company, we had a lot of users, and the app market was growing so fast, and the smartphone adoption was so great, and we became known company as the best fitness tracking application maker. But remember, John, we did not make that much money because the service was free.
So you had the eyeballs, you had the users, but you had to figure out a way to monetize it now.
Correct, John. The business model, we didn't do it. We were naive. We didn't have a business model, but because our traffic was so great, we were able to raise the capital from Kleiner Perkins.
Okay. Another great firm, another great big, just like Sequoia, one of the granddaddies of venture capital.
You can say that, John, and that convert our company to become a real company because they put the real dollars, and that helped us to recruit talent, and we speed up our R&D, and then we raised capital from Series A from RRE Ventures based in New York City, which is an amazing venture capital firm. Since then, we started to build a business model, Series A, but we could not figure the great product market fit they can scale well, John. Meaning, we had very it's a contradictory, right? We had an amazing user base, but we didn't have a business model. Does it make sense? So that was kind of like common problem for many app makers by the time. Amazing user base, but what's a business model? We couldn't figure, and we tried, but it didn't work. At the same time, we also learned that surprisingly a lot of our users are using service for weight loss. And that's how we figure weight loss, John. Like, our product is designed for fitness tracking, but people are not using, they don't do exercise, but they're still using Noom for parameter, which is one of the bonus feature. And we go, why? What is this?
Were they overtly telling you that, or were you asking them? Because I know you like to ask for constructive feedback. Were you and Artem asking them for that feedback, or were they just telling you we're using this to lose weight?
Yes, sir, John. So what happened was, as a product company, we always survey our users. User feedback is often the past we can figure, right?
Right.
So we also monitored our usage, and majority of our usage of our app was not the way we designed. People didn't do cycling. People didn't do marathon. But people just use it for walking parameter. Can you imagine, John? That's what I'm saying. So we actually asked users, why did you not run? Why did you not also using for cycling? Then 90% of people said, because I don't do that. I said, okay, then why do you use our service? Because we have a best parameter and you can count calories. And we asked again, so why do you do that? I want to lose weight. And it was like an aha moment, John. It was, oh my God,
That was
people
it.
want to lose weight,
Right. Right.
but they don't want to exercise.
That is interesting. So what year was this now? What year was this approximately?
2012.
So where was your first, when you raised the money from Kleiner and some other New York VCs, where was your first office? Where did you put your first office?
So once we raised capital from RRA Ventures, we moved down to Soho area, Chelsea,
Chelsea. Yeah.
25th Avenue, 25th Street and 8th Avenue. We moved to the gallery town, Chelsea, and then we keep grinding to build a product. But 2012, we have an aha moment about the weight loss, nutrition. We pivot a few times, and then the current Noom arrived in 2014.
Wow. Okay.
I know.
So talk about now the current Noom. What was your new iteration? Now that you had that aha moment of that people want to lose weight, but they're really not too excited about exercising. What was your new iteration on Noom?
The iteration goes like, since then, it became more straightforward and easier. Meaning easier means we discovered, by remember well, that Artem and I, we chat like, oh my God, we figured something mega big problem, mega big business, but it's not going to be that easy product.
That's
We
okay.
knew it. And then we continue to develop how we can make an easy experience to actually change the behavior to lose weight. So 2014, we figured, and then we worked really hard to actually have a laser pinpoint to improve the product. Long story short, we had to drop all the rest of the business in the product, and we focused only one product, which is by the time new weight loss app, and we relaunched the product in 2016, and it came with a human coach part, so it's hybrid service, human coach with the technology support of the coach, and also delivered through mobile platform. And we grew really well, John, from that time. We grew really well from 16, 17, 18. And from 19, we entered hyper growth mode. And now we became nationwide renowned, the household brand Noom.
I want to, first of all, you're not only an extraordinary entrepreneur, Saeju, but you're one of the most humble human beings I've ever met and had the honor to meet. Talk a little bit about that. First of all, to date, and I don't want you giving away any secrets, obviously, but two things. How much money have you raised to date for a guy who was many VCs said no to, which is very much like the entrepreneurial journey others have. And now you've had a lot of success with VCs and fundraising. How much approximately have you raised to date?
So we raised around $670 million so far.
And let's talk about valuations. Again, don't give away any secrets, but unicorns are $1 billion or more. Is it safe to say you're a $4, $5, $6 billion valuation company, $7 billion valuation company?
We were valued last value when we raised capital led by Silver Lake, that we were near $4 billion.
$4 billion. So this is the great journey. So now that you and Artem have had this since from 2016 to 23, these 7 years of unbelievable growth. Talk a little bit about the growth prior to COVID and now coming out of COVID. How has things changed? And have you had to do new iterations or resets? Prior to COVID, you were being massively successful. Post-COVID, how are things changed? Explain a little bit the two bookends of pre-COVID, post-COVID success.
Great question, John. So we are very proud of the way we figured the service, that using psychology and approach with the behavior change method, we deliver sustainable, healthy outcome. So a lot of new users appreciate that our approach is not the weight loss, is about how to build sustainable, healthy habits. And then the result is managing weight better, and we deliver good outcome. So that approach has been incredibly well received in 2016 when we launched. And that's why we did a very good growth prior to COVID-19 time. So again, prior COVID-19 time, we were already growing well because the market has changed. Market was looking for how to improve overall health. And Noom was the answer. So we were lucky, timely correct, and our approach was very modern. So it worked. During the COVID-19 time, as you remember, people were looking for how to improve the one health while they are stuck at home. And then Noom service was well received because it is very innovative way to approach to handle chronic care or preventing the chronic care disease, chronic disease. So we were able to build our brand awareness like very strong, build our trust score from user base, also build awareness through so many millions user base. So that helped us the networking effect, meaning a lot of we call Noomers. Noomers are spreading their own experience of changing behavior. Can you imagine if you actually manage your weight by change behavior and you have a healthier lifestyle? You become naturally ambassador of that our brand because you want to share that good experience because your people, your friends or spouse and coworker will ask, wow, you look great. What happened? And it's such a nice thing. This is the power of doing, sharing the positivity.
But they become your Noomers, and I assume Noomers was taken out of Googlers. I assume that's a little bit like that.
You
And
can
it's
say
wonderful.
that, John.
Yeah,
you can say that, John.
But then what you're saying. Then let's tie this back. Your clients have so much success using Noom, they become great ambassadors and evangelists for your brand.
Correct. We approach the community.
Which goes back to your good to great, because Jim Collins would call that the flywheel effect.
Exactly, John. That's what a beautiful, powerful theory, and we firmly believe it. It's very straightforward, simple. Company Noom should deliver our company mission to our users. We deliver very healthy outcome, which is very, very priceless value for most all of us. And we tackle one of the most difficult challenge that we face, which is lifestyle problem, which lead to weight problem. So we are using technology and science to make sure that hurdle can be easy to accomplish. And also we learn by monitoring millions user base so we can improve our technology and algorithm. So your question post COVID-19 time.
Yeah.
Obviously the post COVID-19 has arrived, and it really, the way we live the world has changed a lot. For instance, very much hybrid culture in terms of work.
Yep.
People continue to look for proactively how to improve their health because they understand the importance of the health has been rising. I think it's very good. And because the consumers, the end users are raising their voice to how can I invest into me for improve my overall well-being? When I say that, that is your physiological health, your mental health, your relationship health, and also your financial health. It is far more holistic health people are looking for. This is a change we monitored. These days, today, 2023, people are proactively looking for how can I improve my overall well-being? It's a trend. It's a very, very important trend.
Is that a trend, Saeju, in your mind and Artem's mind that came out of COVID because people saw the death and destruction and tragedies that COVID
Yes.
Basically thrust itself upon us unexpectedly, and now want to be better prepared and more resilient as people and as healthy people to, if that ever happens again, they want to be more prepared by using a great platform like yours so they can just live healthier and better lives?
You are such a great the teacher actually, John, because you summarized very well. True, and I cannot agree with more than what you just said. The thing is, it's a tragedy that what we have witnessed and experienced indirectly or directly seeing the COVID-19 impact to this world is tragedy for mankind, but that really alert the importance of oneself health and also family members.
Right.
And people start to raise their voice about, hey, dear healthcare, what do you do for us? Meaning, healthcare industry is so big, and we are paying a lot of dollars to insurance and also to get the service. And now they're asking, can I get some help today before I get sick? Meaning, we are talking about preventative approach. This is exactly what we shared this early our conversation. Now I can truly see the focus from sick care management from healthcare became a little shift over prevention care. How nice is that, John? Because people are asking, the healthcare industry is also paying attention. This is a very positive move.
Well, that's not only powerful, but it shows how brilliant and prescient and visionary your father was, because he had it right. And you were able to take his wisdom and put it into real life action, because the technology now exists and you had the vision to take that technology and make it a reality now.
Thank you so much. That means a lot to me. Thank you so much, John.
It's the truth. It's just fascinating, but it's absolutely the truth. And, you know, what your father did and your uncles did and your grandfather's dream was, your family became great healers, but I call their time of healing and taking care of sick people their retail time. You, with the power of technology, with Artem and all of your colleagues, are able to exponentially take that and now make it that during your wholesale time, the time that you're having this conversation with me, the time that you're with your wife and children, the time that you're sleeping, your app, Noom, is able to bring healthcare, deliver it to millions of people around the world while you sleep. You don't have to now spend your retail time doing it one by one. You're doing it on a wholesale democratized basis, which is the whole beauty and elegance of Noom.
Incredible, John. You actually quite speak similar like my father, because my father told me, hey, Saeju, I did all my best to help their lives, but once I got sick, I couldn't practice more. And basically, I realized I was a highly paid manual labor job, and my knowledge and experience cannot be passed it down. In other words, not scalable. So he actually encouraged me to think, applied entrepreneurship, build a system that can actually continue to grow and serve for the people who need the help over the nighttime and against the clock. And that's exactly what you said, John.
And you did it. And literally, you did it. You put his words into action. And that's an unbelievable story. That's an unbelievable story. And why I was so excited to have you here.
I'm honored, John. This is the beginning. And kudos to all the digital healthcare companies and founders. I think we together, we are making a positive dent to this healthcare system. I believe there's a lot of lessons we learned from COVID-19. I believe there's a very positive movement has happened and will continue to be evolved, that people are now actively looking for how to get healthy. And because of that, the world will pay attention to prevention. And I think that's a good thing.
Let's talk about the beauty and the scalability of your app. Today, are you allowed to discuss how many millions of people use your app approximately, or in a range? I don't want to give away any secrets. Obviously, that's not the purpose of this show and this interview. But how big is it in terms of millions of users?
We have we don't provide the specific numbers, but we have millions of paid users, active users, and also the North America is our primary market. We've been expanding our service to international service such as UK, Australia. We plan to go more overseas, and our service has been serving for 20s to like late 60s. So it's really like wide the age, the coverage that we have, and our brand has been well recognized as one of the top the consumer facing healthcare companies. So we became a nationwide like a household brand, and I'm very proud of that, John.
You are, and that's today mostly in the United States and Canada, and eventually UK, Australia, and around the world.
Correct. And we care about our brand awareness and also trust score because it's a healthcare company. We want to make sure we deliver great outcome, and we are paying attention with the strong investment into R&D to make sure that we deliver great outcome by investing into the core R&D product.
Let's talk a little bit more about the core service, and then we'll talk about the future a little bit. So, how many folks do you have working with you as coaches for your wonderful subscriber base?
So we have nearly 1,000 employees. It consists of like the lifestyle coach and also product people and obviously business, the finance, marketing, customer support. We are based in New York City, but we also support the remote work, and we have a lot of very strong talent from nearly 40 states in the United States who support this new platform.
Being the co-founder and executive chairman of a brand that's now very large with many large employees, how has that role and managing employees changed pre-COVID, post-COVID?
Pre-COVID, we had a very tight culture that we all work from office in New York City. And I think during COVID-19, we had to adapt the remote work, and we were even growing even faster than most of the companies. So we had a double challenge, such as like in remote work plus like growth, the hyper growth mode. And that helped us to expand our architect, how we can serve for the millions users and millions of users, and also set for the next level growth. So people are often, like commenting like 0 to 1. I think we are now entered 1 to 100, the scale in that game. Post COVID-19, that we are trying to figure the best hybrid working culture. And also as company has grown, that we constantly invite the very experienced executives and experienced talents. That way we can embrace the experience from outside and continue to be ready for the next growth. So that's where we are. And that is one of the main reasons that I also stepped down from CEO to chair after I served for 17 years. I recently stepped down to chair as the executive chair, and I'm very, very thankful. I embrace the experienced founder CEO who has managed bigger business than ours and also public company, so we can get some help. And now the leadership is building next level partnership. And I believe that the company adopt the adaptability, right? Adaptability is the most important muscle for the company. I believe that is so critical, and we are constantly looking for how we can evolve.
So I take it then you and Artem never go to bed thinking, it's all built, it's all complete, our masterpiece. Tonight we can rest, tomorrow is easy. That's never the way it goes, right?
Oh no, John, you know it. We never, not even 1% of that feeling.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, we have a lot of ideas. Because of that, we get frustrated why we don't have enough time.
Do you ever enjoy thinking back to your original business plan, the first business plan on this, and do you marvel at how much you've iterated it and changed it and where you are today from that first business plan that you started pitching to the first VC?
Yeah, I used to print it out and frame it and actually hang next to me because I wanted to remind my day one how much I did not know, to remind myself. And also, I think that's the beauty of the entrepreneurship, like you, John, that a lot of ideas are often not working. And I think over years and years, what I learned, we put the best effort to figure and deliver better outcome, but sometimes not working, but it's okay because eventually we'll figure. But it's not okay. It's not okay to not change the ideas and not admitting the failure. It's not okay.
I agree. I mean, but some people aren't. They get stuck and they never change and their businesses go away that easily. I mean, you and I know that. That's the difference. I keep over my shoulder here this little sock puppet of pets.com. That's been in my office since 1999. My partner and I started a .com, Mike O'Brien, back then. And when Pets.com was launched and raised billions and went out of business, we bought all their furniture and their servers. Mike was the genius behind for pennies. And we bought these sock puppets then from their liquidation just to always remind us that if we don't stay vigilant, if we don't stay flexible, if we don't stay ever changing, we're going to go the same way as Pets.com. So I keep that as a constant reminder.
It's such a powerful way you can remind yourself. I agree there, sir.
Every day. Talk a little bit about your partner. Over your shoulder is a beautiful picture of you and Artem in your. Yeah, I love that. Talk about adaptation and ever changing. Partnership is like a marriage. You and I know we're married. I'm married to my wife almost 40 years now, and we're not the same people when we are when we got married. We're always having to change and adapt to keep making the marriage work. Partnership and entrepreneurship is a marriage, and many of those marriages break up, and it also destroys or diminishes the brand. How come you and Artem are the anomaly, or not the anomaly, but you're the opposite of what's happened to many other brands? You two are close. You've been close for all these years. How do you keep making sure that partnership, that business marriage continues to work and you continue to help the business thrive as your friendship has also grown?
Thank you for asking. We try to think the company first. Then even if we have any disagreement, that becomes like a tiny matters. We also spend a lot of time to chat. That way we can reduce the opportunity that we are in a different place. Meaning we purposefully put some time together. So we chat about topics that we care. That way we are naturally aligned. It's easier to actually have the consensus then. And we also proactively run the session that we call clearing session, clearing the chest. If something stays in the chest and something bothers, then we actually have a bi-weekly meeting, and that's a dedicated session and we talk about it. That way we can reduce that uncomfortable feeling or unresolved matters. We prevent that grows bigger.
Is it so you nip it in the bud before it festers and becomes something bigger than it should be anyway?
Yep.
So wait a second. That's a very modern, almost therapeutic way to manage a partnership in marriage. Most people can't do that in their own marriage, nonetheless a business partnership. How did you come up with and how did you and Artem come up with such a healthy way of interacting together?
We had a lot of trial and errors, and also we have seen the pattern that if we don't proactively invest into partnership, then the little miscommunication here and there can pile up, and it can cause the bigger impact on when we needed to have some tense conversation to make the decision, which we are not aligned. And because we're human and because we're passionate, we tie our opinion to the decision, and we don't want that. We also invited a CEO coach, the executive coach, and then can guide us, and that was one of the recommendations. So we want to invest into partnership by having a clearing session so we can move forward. And it's very nice. It's nice to have that cadence. That way you can prevent unnecessary tense conversation in the future.
I take it that you both are outside of the business very close otherwise in terms of friends and your wives and your children. You're very close and you feel very spiritually and from a friendship basis very close.
Correct. Because we care Noom so much, and Noom is our baby. That's the way we feel about it. So it's often easy to have a conversation over the weekend. We don't have to talk about the work, but it's a time that we can chat about the life. And I think that also fulfill the other pillar, which is likability and caring each other.
What if I was to ask you, what's the secret to motivating people to make healthier choices in life? People listen to this podcast and they want to take away some action steps. And of course, we always encourage them to sign up to Noom, www.noom.com, noom.com. But what are some of your takeaways that you've seen now that you serve millions of people? You're really the healthcare advisor to millions upon millions of people. You have a unique position and a unique information base that you and Artem now have gathered over all these years.
Thanks for asking, John. I always recommend it's okay to not, if it's okay to reset the goal, meaning in January, we often see the New Year resolution.
Right.
It's a great move. People are trying to become better, which I like it. They try, but we often see the New Year resolution does not, achieve the success because often the people set a little unrealistic goal or a little like challenging target. Let's face it, building a healthy habit. What is a healthy habit? A little better choice than what you used to do. A little better choice for nutrition choice, exercise or activities, stress, anxiety management, sleep, resting, your relationship. All you need to do is a little better choice. Try again. And it's okay if you somehow miss your great streak or you've been doing good for 3 days, but today it did not work. Do not judge yourself that it was a failure. It's okay to start again now or tomorrow. But the thing is, do not give up on keep trying. Remember, if you try New Year resolution every week, let's say, right? Theoretically, if you think about today is a new day of this year, and try it. If it's not working, try again. Today is the new day of new year.
So your advice is stay on the journey. If you have a slip up, it's okay. That doesn't destroy all the hard work you've put in. Just keep moving forward.
Correct, John.
You and Artem are always watching what's going on and latest trends and things of that such. Talk a little bit about the future of Noom. I've heard you have something coming out. If you're allowed to talk about it, I'd love to hear about it, called Noom Med. And there's new technology out there. Obviously, we know 23andMe has become very popular. These peptides, Ozempic and semaglutide, have become popular. Soul Cycle, Peloton, the ice bath and ice plunges. Talk a little bit about what's to come for Noom besides spreading internationally and continuing to grow your great brand. What are you excited about in 2024 and 25 and beyond?
We are excited about how Noom can provide service beyond the wellness service. Noom Med is a great way to introduce doctors to our users. So Noom Med is the bridge between wellness and healthcare service. Meaning now through Noom Med, we embed telehealth and telemedicine. So we can now provide a doctor's opinion, doctor review, and also doctor's recommendation and prescription. So that way we can even care of chronic care management or chronic prevention service, including medically assisted weight loss such as GLP-1 or Ozempic like that. We believe this will cover a greater way to present healthcare service. Also, embracing doctors into our platform, we can go deeper level intervention service for our patients. And also, because of GLP-1 service, such as semaglutide, the drug like Ozempic, Wegovy, Manjura, it's a very sensational drug. It's a great discovery. But as you may know, it does require lifestyle change. Lifestyle change must be accompanied with a GLP-1. So we believe as people now have more choices getting a GLP-1 support, we want to make sure that Noom provides a great way to build a healthy habit that become a good digital companion.
So you're really taking it to the next level. You're really making sure that Noom is not only well situated for the future, and it's open. You're building a bigger tent, but you're also becoming much more integrated. You're now covering different parts of people's needs and wants from the medical profession, so you could be more and more preventative and healthcare oriented than sick care oriented.
Exactly, that's our vision, John. We hope we can contribute well, that we move the focus from Sickcare to preventative approach in healthcare.
So there's New Med already launched. Has that come out yet?
Yes, New Med is available. We help to connect the doctors to our users, Noomers. Yes.
Wonderful. So it's not only just coaches you have anymore, but now you have real medical doctors.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Wow, you've gone to full circle, and you've gone right back to the Jeong family roots. Talk a little bit before we say sign off for today. Talk a little bit about your mom. Your mom has been a big supporter of yours from the beginning. She took your father's words of wisdom and put them into action and supported you. She said something at one of your dad's memorial services that honored him, but also honored you. I'd love you to share that with our listeners and viewers before we have to say goodbye for today.
Thank you, John, for your very thoughtful questions, and also the kind words and also encouragement of our journey. I appreciate that. My mother, I learned because it took many years. It took years that how much my mother sacrificed for our business and for our success. My mother dealt with the loneliness as she lost my father. Was not easy to let me go to United States, but she believed in me, and she wanted me to have a chance to live life fully with the risk that I wanna fully take on. And it is not easy to sponsor that, because she knew it's not gonna be easy path, but she truly believed in me. I think that is incredible as a parent, if I may comment on her. Because now I'm become a parent.
That's a gift. She could have been selfish. You have two sisters. You're the only man in the family left. She could have made you stay back home because she didn't want to be lonely. She didn't want to be without that support.
Correct, John.
Wow.
My mom told me at my father's anniversary, said, Seju, it's powerful comment. Actually, this actually linked with my father's comment. My father told me before he passed away, if things are difficult, Seju, you can always go back to your mom. That was the last word. When things are difficult, find mom. Mom is like an ocean. She will embrace you. She will give you will be able to recharge. And my mother, the other day, told me, I'm here all the time, Sage, for you. So whenever you have a problem, come to me. I'm like you are my the boss. You are my boss. I'm a boss staff. I'm here all the time. You can travel. You can come back. I'm here all the time. So powerful, so powerful. The commitment and also sacrifice.
She always wanted you to make you feel welcome, that you always could come home no matter what.
Correct. That great love is my shield. It's very, very powerful.
The wisdom and the love of your parents and the vision of your parents have to not only have informed you so wonderfully, and your success is just a living testimony of it for your entrepreneurship journey, but I'm sure for your marriage journey, for your fatherhood journey, it also has so informed you and prepared you like nothing else could have.
Thank you very much for saying that, John. It means a lot to me. Thank you.
You know, Saeju, you and I know entrepreneurship, there's no finish line. It really is a journey. I want you to know that having you on was a special honor to me today. I get to interview lots of wonderful people. You rank in the top 5% of people I've ever interviewed. Your story is unique. It's special, but it's also so important that others hear it. You taking time from a very busy life not only as a family man, but as a very successful entrepreneur to share with our audience and our listeners your history and your journey and some of your thoughts and wisdom mean the world to me. I want you to know that you're always welcome back on the show to continue sharing the success of you and Artem and all of your colleagues at Noom, and to find you at Noom.com. I want all of our listeners, if they're so inclined, to go to www.noom.com and get a healthier life, be better, and keep moving forward in the journey. Saeju, I just can't thank you enough, and I hope one day our paths cross in person and I get to meet you in person and shake your hand. You are just really a special human being, and I thank you for not only making the world a healthier place, but a better place. You are unique, and you've made a huge impact on me and inspired all of our listeners today.
Thank you. What a beautiful words. I will continue to thrive, deliver our company mission. I will do our best. Thank you. It was my honor that very kindly and thoughtfully guided by you to remember and recall all the memories of the past 17 years. I want to say thank you. This is a great gift to me. Thank you, John.
This edition of the Impact Podcast is brought to you by Engage. Engage is a digital booking platform revolutionizing the talent booking industry. With thousands of athletes, celebrities, entrepreneurs, and business leaders, Engage is the go-to spot for booking talent, for speeches, custom experiences, live streams, and much more. For more information on Engage or to book talent today, visit letsengage.com. This edition of the Impact Podcast is brought to you by ERI. ERI has a mission to protect people, the planet, and your privacy, and is the largest fully integrated IT and electronics asset disposition provider and cybersecurity-focused hardware destruction company in the United States, and maybe even the world. For more information on how ERI can help your business properly dispose of outdated electronic hardware devices, please visit eridirect.com.